Tonight, Phil, you've been a fixture in the fishing industry for decades. Where I first heard about Phil was on Let's Talk Hookup on, was it 9762, I believe, way back when, mid-90s?
85?
Yeah. You were on, you go back with, you predate actually, Let's Talk Hookup. Yeah, but now, I tell you what, get on YouTube, guys, Freeman Adventures and Morning Briefing, I tell you what.
I've followed him on Instagram for about the last 3 years.
Yeah, that is so cool. That swimming pool with a handle on it, he calls a coffee cup. That thing, yeah. You love that coffee, man. I tell you what, it keeps you going.
I love it when he loses his cup.
No, I love this last weekend when he's sitting there starting to talk about the surf fishing and all this.
What could I possibly have been looking at?
You know what? The sand was beautiful that
That's
morning.
right.
Yeah.
I told my wife.
Yeah. But you know, he's such a great supporter of sport fishing. He's a huge supporter of CCA. A lot of times you'll see events that the chapters do up in either LA or Orange County. And a lot of times, Phil, you've been the MC for a lot of those events. Yeah, they all love you.
No, he's emceeing a lot of the boats this year. He's got some great ones.
Yeah, you do a lot for helping the folks down in Mexico. You're a great man, my friend. But let's go ahead and let's hand it off to Phil.
All right. You said something like, God, I hope he finishes quick.
You weren't at our Apps and Taps 2 years ago when I had Brian Q a heart attack.
Oh, really?
Told him 7 minutes. Try 38 minutes.
Yeah, how long do you want me to go tonight? 30 seconds? Hey, and at any point during this, if you want to break in with a question, I'm more than happy to entertain your questions. And so many of you, I heard the cock-a-doodle-doo, and I heard you guys what? There is no Freeman Adventures without you. So I thank you so very, very much. Am I in that, Jolene? Can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Woo! All right, let's do it. So I thought I'd just give you a little bit of my history, how 976 started. I'm going to go back to when I was 3 years old. My dad took me out on the Mondstadt Pier in Redondo, and we looked down, we saw these big piling perch, and we're like, Dad, can we, and he got a drop line, this green line, like almost like Spectra. We dropped down, we're catching these piling perch. Man, I was hooked. I was done from that point on. And my parents would drop us off at 6 in the morning on the weekends down there. See you later. And back at 6 at night, pick us up. And my brother and I had the time of our lives. We also used to fish those big bonito off the pier. And we did something called a slider rig. So I don't know if you're familiar with that. I know the bubble and feather was really popular. But you take like a 6-ounce torpedo sinker and cast it out as far as you could. Then you take a swivel, a clip-on, and you'd slide your chovy all the way down and it'd get
Back
out
in
there.
the day when you used to be able to buy chovies on the piers.
Yes, you buy, you have your tickets.
Yep.
You go up and turn your ticket in. So we used to do that. And then finally I got a job as a pinhead on the Redondo Special when I was 12 years old, and I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. Man, I wanted to wear my deck boots everywhere. I had these deck boots, and we had them like up to here in those days. And I was like, can I go to dinner with these on? To my parents, and they're like, no, you idiot. What's wrong with you? Well, I want everybody to know I'm a deckhand. And so I just fell in love with the sport for sure. And then as we went along, I ran a commercial boat. Jolene's talking about Cherry Bank. Man, I spent many a day on Cherry Bank. Commercial fishing rock cut out there. Cherry Bank, because man, those reds, they look like cherries, man. When you float up a 100-hook set line, or we used to fish rod and reel 50 hooks, man, there is nothing like just getting so rattled and, winding that up. Finally, it floats, and it's a beautiful sight, because you're making money, having fun, and you're two young kids. And believe me, I have no idea how we survived, because my brother and I had no idea what we were doing. No idea. We should have gone a few times. So, and then finally, I was working in the Redondo Sport Fishing ticket office. I was off the boats for a little while. And man, I'll tell you, in those days, we would put 400 people on the night barges. You'd have the half-day boats coming in with 80 people on each boat. You'd have the Pursuit going out. You'd have the Real Special. Homer Lightfoot was going out. And there was 2 guys. So when somebody called and said, hey, how you doing? how's fishing? You're like, you know what? Blow it out your you know what, pretty much. You could not keep up with it. And it was right then when I said, there's an opening here. People want the fishing information. And they'd like to be treated like a human being, like somebody courteous. I bet if you did a recording and started to put that out there, people would call it. And I bet they'd pay $1 to do it. Maybe even more than that. People told me, no one's gonna pay for that. It's a dumb idea. And I started to prove them right in the beginning because I was out handing out flyers. I'd walk every single landing, drive to every single landing, put a flyer on every single car. And I was teaching at Bishop Montgomery High School at that time. And I'd look, oh man, we had 2 phone calls today. I think I made 67 cents, And oh shoot, 8 phone calls today. And for those of you who don't know, 976 numbers in those days were numbers that you could call and you could actually charge the public to call those. Most of them, as you all know, were girly numbers. So you wanted Susie to talk dirty to you called 976 Tina, which was very close to 976 Tina. And I am convinced that there had to be a few guys out there. There had to be a few guys out there who were half in the bag trying to dial 976 Tina, and they got me, and they're like, what the hell? I don't want the bonita bite at Rocky Point. I want Susie to talk dirty to me. What's going on? So we had that going on, just getting a few phone calls here and there, and my college professor, I went to Loyola Marymount University, living proof that their standards are pretty low there, and my college professor, Pete Hoffman, called me and said, did you see the LA Times today? And I said, no. And he said, go get the LA Times. Man, they have written a full page on 976 Tina. Earl Grutzky wrote this huge thing about this guy's exciting and he's fun and you get the latest fishing info. You don't have to wait till the next day. That was the days, remember, when we would go to the LA Times Fish Report to find out where the fish were. And so he was saying, yeah, and by then it's too late. That's why I thought 3,000 phone calls that next day. 3,000 phone calls. I was making at least $1 a call. My mom looked at me. I dropped out of law school at Loyola. She goes, what the hell? What are you doing? I go, I don't know. And so it just kept going on and on like that. It was pretty seasonal, but even in the off season, what's the best thing if you're not fishing? You want to be talking about fishing. You want to be in the know about fishing. It's cool to be able to say, oh, those yellowfin are down there on the 425. It's a time of day bite, mostly in the afternoon, and they want to bite the light line. You want to be in the know. It's kind of cool to be able to do that. So definitely 976 Tina was my foothold. In 85, I started that. Then I took off, and a priest from the Catholic high school I went to, he's dragged me down to Costa Rica with him. I went to Costa Rica. I was a late Catholic missionary, right? So I said, what do I do, Father? And he goes, just friggin' keep those kids quiet during Mass. Go play soccer, go do whatever. So I did that for a year, and dopey me, who couldn't say hola after 2 years of Spanish at Bishop Montgomery High School, my Spanish teacher at Bishop Montgomery just said, I'm not giving you an F because I don't want to see you again. Get out of here. I'll give you a D.
That sounds familiar.
So I came back. I actually ran into her. Her name was Senorita Gadowski. I ran into her in Rouse, and I spoke better Spanish than she did. And she was another one with their mouth dropped open. I followed that same priest down to Mexico. Spent 2 years there in Mexico City. Lived with a tribe of Amusco Indians, which was really fantastic, man. That was cool because they spoke their own dialect. They did some really wild, we call it heterodoxy, where they combine Catholicism like with this witchcraft crap. And so, man, they know how to throw a party. They made their own hooch, and they were drinking that at midnight, sticking pins and dolls. And I was there like, whoa, this is trippy. I'm kind of digging this. So I remember there was a girl, Carmela, I'll never forget her, cutest little Indian girl, probably 12 years old. I walked in and I said, okay, class tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And she would not look at me. She would look at me and look down, look at me and look down. I go, Carmela, what is the problem? She spoke a little Spanish. A lot of them just spoke a Musco. And she goes, I've never seen a man with cat's eyes. You have ojos de gato, because blue eyes. They've never seen that before. And then I had to get over the fact that there were no clocks or electricity out there. So when you told the kids what time class was, you literally had to point at the sun. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell time 10 o'clock is. You know, kids are showing up at midnight for class because I didn't know when to point or anything else. So that got me going and exposed me to some other parts of Mexico, which explains why I like to do so much in Mexico and Costa Rica. My wife is from Costa Rica. I've been married to her for 30 years, poor woman. She's going straight to heaven. I'm telling you right now. Man, she had no idea what she was getting into with me. But that also added to what we do now with Freeman Adventures. So, Freeman Adventures, for those of you who don't know, it's a YouTube channel. We're also on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Hit that like button. Just kidding. Man, I launched into that. And we try to make it entertaining. Fishing is supposed to be fun. We all like to compete. We all like to have a good time, but you got the perfect example. Jolene went out on a 3-day trip, didn't catch a fish, and got a big smile about the great time she had. And that's what fishing should be. It should be about.
Captain didn't listen to your podcast.
Maybe Max, huh? Max, he's kidding, Max. That's what it's supposed to be all about. It's about the adventure, the hunt. You catch fish once in a while, that's a blessing. That's a bonus, right? So I'll tell you, the fishing here this year, as far as I'm concerned, it's been a little bit off, but we're still incredibly blessed with this bluefin tuna thing that's been going on for 10 years. When I was a young man, I remember I was up in the wheelhouse of the Redondo Special. Barney Barnes was running the boat, and he got stuck by a pinback shark, and his arm was all black and blue, and he goes, "You're running the boat today, kid." I'm 15. So I'm up in the wheelhouse. We're going to the bait receiver. He goes, "Okay, put it in gear. Put it, turn the wheel hard over," all that stuff. And so you would think, yeah, maybe I was on a path to become a captain, but we went through some really terrible fishing years in those days. And I was convinced, there's no way this is going to last. There's no way, there's not going to be any fish left when I get to be an adult. Boy, did I have that wrong, man. It's better now. You look at that Channel Island bite this year, they caught thousands upon thousands of halibut and white sea bass. You look at this bluefin tuna, it's incredible. We're starting to get a little bit of yellowfin in here now in the San Diego area. It's really incredible. It may not be the same bite that we had last year, and there's definitely been some ups and downs with regard to it, but man, I'll tell you, we are really, really blessed. So, 2 days ago, 1 day ago, I don't remember when, a couple days ago, that's when I was out last. Mark asked me when I was out fishing last, and I'm like, I think it's been a while. It was like 2 days ago. Is there coffee in that thing, or is there something else in there? Somebody put some tequila in there? No, okay, no, I'm good. So I was out on the Dolphin. Beautiful boat, nice half-day boat. We went to the Coronado Islands, but we went with a group of guys all in freaking wheelchairs. The video's up if you want to watch it. Talk about inspirational. Talk about having conversations with guys who one day are walking around like you and me, and the next day they got a doctor tell them, "You'll never walk again."
You guys showed them the time of their lives, I tell you.
Oh, shoot. They showed us the time of our lives.
The videos are awesome, seeing them trying to come down the rail.
Yeah, traffic jams, man. There's traffic jams going on. These guys, they caught 17 yellowtail. They did really good. But talk about inspirational. Guys that still love life and still feel blessed. And a lot of us could go to a really dark place if that happened. It could be really, really bad. Let me put that over there again. Yeah. Throw some tequila in there. No, I'm kidding. But these guys just maintain their love for the outdoors, their love for fishing, their love for just getting out on the boat. It was kind of international also. There was a guy from England. There was a couple guys from Japan. There was a kid from Temecula who was great. He had 3 yellows. 3 yellows. He'd go up to the bait tank, wheel himself up there, get a bait, go over there, toss it out. These guys were frickin' inspirational and awesome. It was a beautiful thing. And I've got that video up. If you want to see it, I think it just makes you really grateful for, we can walk around. We can do all those things. And the next time I'm sitting on the couch and I don't feel like going for a walk, I'm gonna think about those guys on that boat. So great time out there. On the fishing end, in case you want a little fishing info, it was mostly all sardine, 25-pound, got bit better than anything. Choosing a good hot bait, as always, made all the difference. 2 fish on the iron, a little bit of bluefin jumping out of the water there around the Ribbon South Island. Saw a little bit, but overall, pretty good yellowtail bite and an inspirational, wonderful day. All right, the charity stuff, we did a lot of stuff with the Los Angeles Lakers back in the day, and the Laker girls.
Brian Shaw.
Brian Shaw, there you go. B. Shaw, well shoot, I'll tell you B. Shaw's story. So we're out on a trip out of Redondo. We got 100 kids, or 80 kids on the boat, inner city kids, never been on a boat before. And Brian Shaw is there, and a bunch of the Lakers, Samaki Walker, all these guys. And Brian had become real good friends with me and my kids. He knew my kids really well. So he said to Samaki Walker, he said, hey, why don't you bite the head off a sardine? Show these kids. He goes, there's no way I'll do it. And he goes, if that little kid does it, will you do it? It was my son Patrick. Patrick bite the head off a rattlesnake, I gotta tell you. And so he goes, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And so he goes, hey, Patrick, bite the head off it. So Patrick, of course, complied with Brian Shaw. I mean, who would say no to Brian Shaw, for God's sakes? And he did it, so Samaki had to do it, and Samaki started throwing up. He was so screwed up. And we went to a game later on, and Brian invited us, took care of us. Brian Shaw, by the way, invites us to a game, gets us tickets. We're sitting pretty close to the Laker bench. And he's the assistant coach or the head coach in those days. I can't remember. And he literally gets up during the game, and then he starts going. And then he finds it and he waves. Like he's got way more important things to do. But that's the kind of a gentleman he was. They put that video of Samaki throwing up on the big screen. That was friggin' awesome. Patrick was like all puffed up, He thought it was the greatest thing in the world. So that was really, really great. And other guys like, there was a guy named Grant, Brian Grant. Yeah. Brian was a big, big man. And we went fishing with him. He went on a lot of our inner city trips. And Kobe was actually on this particular trip that I'm thinking of. And all the Lakers went, and it was kind of a thing, I think, because Kobe was having a little bit of trouble in those days. He had a legal matter with a lady going on. So he literally got on the boat, went down to the bunk room, and pretty much, that was it. But Brian Grant, man, I liked him. And this is back in my drinking days, Jolene. So I said, shoot, or somebody had a bottle of tequila. I forget who it was. So Brian Grant said, hey, yeah, oh yeah, man, let's go. So we had a shot, we had another shot. And then the girl who was in charge of all the Lakers comes up to me, Eugenia Chow was her name, lovely, lovely lady. She goes, what are you doing getting all these guys drunk? What are you? And I'm like, I'm getting them. They're freaking adults. What are you talking about? You talk to them. Anyway, we had such a good time. And later on, Brian and I, we'd go lake fishing. We do a ton of stuff. Super great guy. A lot of those guys, the Laker players, were so good. And the Laker girls were fantastic. I know a lot of people think, whoa, cute, They were really smart. They were dedicated to helping in the community. That was always a pleasure to work with them. I won't go on too much longer. Fishing report-wise, great salmon fishing up there in San Francisco today. I posted a video of a guy 97 years young who caught his limit of salmon today. He'll be 98 in 2 weeks. And most of the boats up there today had limits of salmon. They have like a 3-day thing going on right now where it's open, and it was incredible. Lovely Martha sport fishing, a bunch of those guys up there had great fishing. A little bit more yellowfin down below here. The bluefin thing is making guys pull their hair out, no doubt about it. And plus, that bluefin, it's day and night for these poor crew members.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how these days.
I don't know how they do it. Yes, sir.
So you posted about the albacore hitting Morro Bay.
Yeah.
Are they fishing them right now? Because
So-
the bay's kind of backed off on
So
them.
that was David Thomas, who's a friend of Jolene's. He was walking by the processing fillet station,
Yeah.
and private boaters were filleting some albacore there. That's it. That was the end. That was the last time I've heard anything. They may be keeping a lid on it. I doubt it. I would think the sport fishing. So maybe those guys stumbled across just a little bit of
Yeah,
fish.
or how far offshore.
They wouldn't say. They would not say. Yeah, they said when David asked them, they said offshore. You know, so that was all they said.
Out there.
Yeah, out there somewhere. Good luck.
Somewhere wet, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So no follow-up to that. But albacore, incredible fishing. A kid sent me some photos and video today. Westport, Washington. They had 8 people on a boat called the Matador, and they had 150 plus 15 to 30 pound albacore. And the kid had 65 fish. So he was using a lift pole, I'm sure. No, right. Julie.
What we did notice on the 3D on the Pacific Voyager,
Yeah.
on the bluefin, they were on schools of bait.
Yes.
The little small stuff. But Max, when he cut one open, they were all small anchovies.
Oh, okay.
Out by the
Cherry Bay? Yeah.
They're like little guys.
So they're on that small
Just
bait.
full, yeah.
Jolene talking about the small chovy that the fish were on out there. So man, they do have lockjaw right now. We can't blame it on the full moon now. So it's something else that's going on. Somebody was talking about Ken Frankie.
Me, yeah.
Yeah, there is something going on. I mean, I don't know what it is exactly, but we haven't had the amount of sand bass we had on the Huntington Flats. We're seeing a lot more chovies around. I know that Noah said we're headed probably toward a La Nina, colder water. And, you know, that regime, sometimes those things last 30 years, those cold water regimes. So who knows what we're headed toward. I think on our bait, which has been difficult, maybe we're in between like going from sardine to anchovy, and we're kind of in that no man's land, and maybe next year we'll just have straight chovy and have tons of it. But that's definitely, that would, all we need is a steady supply of bait, right? Yeah, so that you can actually chum a little bit and catch some fish that way. Finally, we're going to start a nonprofit next month. We open up, and it's going to be heavy emphasis on fishing, but it's also going to be anything outdoor wise. What it's going to be is getting people outdoors, especially kids, off their phones and outdoors. Now, this might mean we take a group of inner city kids here out on a fishing trip. It might mean we go to Mexico and take kids from an orphanage out on a fishing trip. It might mean that we go to the old people's home and wheel them out for some vitamin D. But anything to do that. You look at some of the statistics of since Instagram was started, the incident of cutting of adolescent girls who are on Instagram went up by 200%. Boys kind of were always doing a little bit of cutting. Girls were not. And since this, you know, I mean, when you hand your kid, your grandson, that phone, and they have access to some stuff they shouldn't have access to, and plus they lose the ability to socialize, they lose the ability to gather with one another. I mean, I even saw it when I was teaching in China. I taught there for 3 years. I thought they were like all glued to their phones, walking down the street. You see a nice couple at the restaurant. He's on his phones, there it is, and she's on her. And that, I don't know what is going to be the result of that in 10 years, but I can tell you it's not going to be good.
Isn't that human interaction?
We're definitely losing that human interaction. We're losing that. We're losing empathy for others and so much. So that's going to be our goal. Try to get people out in the outdoors. And definitely, we're in this veterans club. We definitely want to work with our veterans. We're huge police. We're very pro-police at Freeman Adventures. We're pro-military. We honor those guys for their sacrifices and everything they do. And then kids, kids are the future. And I'm afraid this generation is just going to be lost if they don't get out, put their toes in the sand, as we like to say. They definitely need to do that. So I've droned on long enough. Thank God nobody fell asleep. I was thinking, Jolene, you might. So, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions if you had any. Yes?
Can you talk about your charters that you have every year and what's available?
Yeah, sure. So we do several charters every year. We do out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, and then we do a lot of San Diego stuff. What we have available for the rest of this year is September 23rd on the Apollo out of Seaforth. 2-day trip. I think there's 2 spots on that. Then back to San Pedro on the Amigo. We have a 2-day trip. And then 8-day trip on the Independence in November. Jolene's on that trip. What a spectacular trip that was last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was really, really special. So it's a beautiful boat, and the guys are
How do we find
Mark.
those?
I'll give you my phone number and just shoot. Anybody who wants my phone
Watch
number.
the show.
If you're desperate
I'll
enough,
watch the show.
yeah, I'd be happy to do that. We'd love to have you because it's just the community is something. When I first started this, these guys were going, "Hey, the Freeman Adventures family, man, this is a real deal. Can you feel it?" And I was like, no, to myself, because we were just starting, and it really has become a thing where we've got kids who watch this, and people look out for them, and people help one another, and they want to fish together. The community has really become something that's a huge part of what we're trying to accomplish, and it really kind of took on a life of its own. I really didn't do anything. It was just great to see that happen. So.
Phil, would you be interested in working, maybe partnering with us out here in San Diego?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would love to do that. I'd be honored to do that.
I'd be honored to
It
have
was
you.
good to see you and your wife tonight, and so many others here. And if I haven't had an opportunity to shake your hand and meet you, please make sure you come by. I would love to do that for sure. Anybody else? I'm happy. I'll answer any questions. Almost any. Yes, sir.
So you're the voice. We know you're the voice.
Yeah.
Is that natural? Always been like that?
Yeah.
Talk like that?
Yeah, it's a God-given gift. I had nothing to do with it. No.
Come on, look at the face.
Yeah.
Voice.
The only thing I'm good at, and God gave it to me. I didn't have to work at it at all. So. Yeah, it totally is. In fact, honestly, when I go back and listen to the videos I did back in '85 and stuff, I freaking cringe. I'm going, oh my God, that is so over the top. It's brutal, but people loved it, and I've dialed it back. Not as crazy, but I still love fishing, so it comes through. When I see kids or people catch fish, I'm all over it. And then, the guys in the wheelchairs, man, that just added an extra layer of, whoa, how is it that I'm standing here watching this? This is freaking awesome. This is really a blessing to be watching these guys who have these disabilities, and they're not gonna let it slow them down.
When you're in scene on the boats, are you fishing at all, or are you just there?
No, I'm there shooting video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm shooting video, and I explained it. A guy asked me on this latest trip to the Coronado Islands. He goes, "Come on, what? You don't fish?" And this is before anything happened. And I said, "Yeah, I could go out there and catch my 900th yellowtail. I've been fishing for 60 years. I could do that." But I want to get the guy in the wheelchair when he catches his fish on this trip. That's what I want to get.
I seen him just this morning.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Pretty special, right? Yeah.
Cool. I just saw it right now. It's cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, it's all those guys. It was beautiful. Beautiful.
Phil, I
Yes.
gotta really say that doing what you did on that trip, I gotta really hand it to Jason Cos and the Dolphin. It
Oh
was
my
really-
God.
And to you to do that for those guys. That's just incredible.
I was just along for the ride, so I got to tell you, Jason, what a great job, and that crew on the Dolphin, fantastic, really, really great. They were Johnny on the spot with the gaff. They were courteous. They were really, really, really good. And that boat is beautiful. Love the boat. The freaking galley, when you go in there, it's so well organized, and yeah, it's just beautiful. So yeah, I felt very fortunate. And Jason did. The crew, guys on the Dolphin did a great job, no doubt. Anything else? Nothing? Yes, sir.
So when you're doing 976 tuna, when did you realize, oh, damn, I'm a key player in this because somebody was depending on you? You found out somebody was calling or listening, and you realized.
So, what was that now? Give me that
So
again.
when you do 976
I started 976
Right,
and
and you're just some guy doing reports.
Right.
When did you realize, oh shit, I'm a key player in this whole game?
that day that I got 3,000 phone calls, man. That's when. Yeah, that day when it just went through the roof.
When did you feel like stars like, oh my god, this guy's depending on my reports?
I felt that obligation all the time. I feel that like now, like getting up in the morning, and then, once in a while I'll get it wrong, and it just
stressful?
bugs me. No, it's not stressful. I really enjoy doing it, but I'll just get it wrong. Like I got a piece of info that was wrong, and I mentioned the area that was not. Most of the time I got it. Most of the time I got so many sources from years gone by and now that I get it right. But once in a while I'll screw it up. But I do feel like once in a while, like I'll be up in the morning, I'll be like, man, I could skip the friggin' Ensenada report, right? Who cares about Ensenada? and then I make the phone calls to the Pongeros I know down there, or whoever, and get the info because I feel
better
that.
than the weatherman.
Huh?
You do better than the weatherman.
Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, there's no Freeman Adventures without all of you. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, I'm going to get you on the show here now. There we are. Man, thank you so much. And one final comment. Please stop scraping the bottom of the barrel for speakers. You can do better than that. Thank you so much.
We're down to our last two-day trips with Friedman Adventures for 2025, September the 23rd. We sail from Seaforth Sport Fishing in San Diego for 2 days, and then October the 6th, we'll be departing from 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California, on board the Amigo. Very few spots available, very little time left. Make sure you send me a text today. Get on board with Friedman Adventures. Please don't forget to support the Friedman Adventures family members who make this all possible, like the taxman, Tim Marquez, and your garage door man, Joe Welker, who does a great job and gets rave reviews here at Friedman Adventures. Heating and or air conditioning needs, it's our dear friend, John Lopez, and also the Island Spirit, Ventura Sport Fishing. You can't beat it. Chris Isaac and the El Patron out of Long Beach Sport Fishing, www.longbeachsportfishing.org. And don't forget to visit Big Fish Bait and Tackle in Seal Beach, California, right there on the corner of Pacific Coast Highway and Seal Beach Boulevard. They've got all the bait tackle you'll need for a successful day on the water. Whether it's surf fishing or big game bluefin tuna, drop in and say hi to the folks at Big Fish Bait and Tackle in Seal Beach.
Get out of bed and wake up the kids, 'cause you know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Fishing reports up and down the coast with Phil Friedman, your coffee-loving host. So much fishing intel, it feels like cheating when you tune into the morning briefing. Inshore, offshore, from the surf, bluefin, yellowtail, pod, surf, perch. Tell you where the fish are and what they're eating when you tune into the morning briefing. So give it a like and subscribe. Hit that bell to be notified of all the fishing content coming your way. Friedman Adventures is here to make your fishing day. It's a morning